Hello and welcome back to Bel Primrose Yoga. Today I am going to be going through a little flow that I taught at one of my women's circles with Steph in the beautiful Dorset. So this flow was a balance of stillness and then some gentle movement, but the whole flow is going to be super mellow, only a few poses, really. And hopefully can give you an opportunity to tune into yourself, to tune into your inner wise woman or man, and yeah, get a little deeper into ourselves. So with that being said, you don't need anything, but a blanket may be quite nice, or a yoga bolster. You could use blocks in some portions of it, so just grab anything that you know you might need, but also know that nothing is actually necessary other than yourself and your practice space. So when you are ready and you have everything you need, find a comfortable seat, and we'll just take a few moments to arrive. So finding your sit bones, grounding down into the earth, finding some length in your spine, maybe finding a steady gaze or closing down the eyes, and just starting to draw your awareness towards your breath. Maybe lengthening out the inhales, adding a little pause, and deepening your exhales. Taking a moment just to arrive in your body. Drawing the shoulders away from the ears. Letting the legs and the sit bones weigh heavy into the ground. Arriving in this first moment of stillness. Good, and then when you're ready, finding a cross-legged position, an easy seat, doesn't matter which shin is in front. Once you've found that, taking your hands onto your lap and then just inviting the weight to shift slightly over, so you're leaning over to the right. Not much, so nothing picks up off of the ground, and then just swaying over to the left. So you're ever so slightly just teetering the weight of your sit bones from left to right, letting the upper body move with you so the shoulders are swaying. Noticing how this feels. And then start to make the movements a bit bigger. Going at your own pace. You can even keep the eyes closed if it feels good. Let the movements be as big as your body needs right now. If there's anywhere that feels good, lean into it. Let the arms go, let the shoulders go. So now using this sway to release any tension you've got. Let the head and neck sort of bob along, get dragged along with each sway. Becoming a little bit more animalistic. Maybe rolling the shoulders as you move. Your body is becoming so loose. Like you're slipping through honey or something. Notice if the weight or yourself is shifting forward or you're leaning forward, and maybe just drawing it back a little bit. Maybe if you're further back, bringing it forward. You don't have to find center here. It's just nice to explore front and the back as you're in these movements side to side. Keeping your breath nice, slow and steady. Nothing forced. Couple more moments here. Really letting everything go, letting the grip of the hands release. And then slowly making these movements smaller and smaller so you can find center. And then just take a moment here, sitting upright in your stillness when you found it. Taking a deep breath in, lengthening up through the spine, and exhaling down through the sit bones. Finding a moment to recenter, to ground. You might feel the blood rushing around your body, and that's normal. Good. And then when you're ready, you're switching your shins around so the opposite foot comes in front. Finding your sit bones again. You might like to draw the feet a bit further away from the hips. So give yourself some more room for this next pose. And then we're simply going to start to crawl the hands out in front of you and come into a forward fold. Lengthening out so you're sending your collarbones out and then down. And then there's a sense of sending the hip bones back, so you're almost pulling yourself ever so slightly in two different directions. And the goal here is to find length through the spine in this fold. The ground feels really far away. You can come up onto fingertips. You do not have to go low, or you could bring blocks or bolster, cushion, pillow, anything out in front of you. Aiming to be somewhere where you can find length. And this is one of our poses where we're leaning into stillness. You're finding if your mind starts to wander, just taking your awareness back towards your breath. I suppose it's similar to a yin and yang style practice. And this being one of the yin poses, a pose where you can find relaxation, a place to restore the body, but a small sensation. Maybe you're feeling it in your hips. Something that you can lean into. And just notice if it starts to get too much and feels uncomfortable, backing out of the pose a little bit. Or if you can't feel much, maybe deepening yourself out, maybe lengthening with an inhale and then an exhale, folding down deeper. Letting the gaze go down, out and down. Couple more breaths here. Lovely, and then on your next inhale, slowly crawling yourself back upright. And then we're going to come into a bear sit. So uncross the legs and plant the feet onto the ground, nice and wide, wider than your hips. You can take the hands back behind you here, just like this. Pushing into the hands, so you're finding length throughout the spine again, collarbones broadening, opening the heart. Deep inhale, and then on the exhale, dropping both your knees over to the right. And the gaze can actually go over to the left. Lovely, drawing it back up to center, then taking the knees over to the left, gaze to the right. And then switch sides again. And back over, knees to the left, gaze to the right. And then just keep moving through this at your own pace. If it feels like too much to keep switching the head, if you're going faster paced, then don't worry, you can leave that part out. You might find a slight bend in your elbows can give you support here. And just know that if you are picking up speed, then you are likely to not be in the same position you started in, as in you're going to scooch around the room. Quite like that. It feels quite like a child playing a game. Reminds me of something I probably would have done when I was younger. So just moving through this windscreen wiper of the legs, changing the hips from internal to external rotations. So you're really warming them up in this yang pose, building up heat and energy, pushing into the hands to keep the length through the spine without dumping back into the shoulders, so you're nice and strong and broad through the collarbones. And we'll move through this for another 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Lovely. And then bringing it back to center, maybe taking the legs out in front of you, giving them a little shake. Anything that feels good right now. Lovely. Then finding your sit bones again, and then taking your legs wide and coming into a wide leg forward fold. So you might like to pull the squishy part of your bum out from behind you so you can really find the sit bones. Lengthening through the spine again, sitting up nice and tall. And then on the exhale, slowly crawling yourself out again. If there was any props that you found helpful in the Sukhasana forward fold, then maybe you'd like to bring those back in now. Another thing that can be really nice here is just folding up the blanket or the back of your yoga mat. So you make a little seat so your sit bones are slightly raised. This can give you some more space in the hips if it's feeling really tight there. And then the same thing here, so lengthening through the spine and then folding down on an exhale. You can also invite a bend of the knees. That feels good and gives you more room. I like to roll up blankets and place them underneath each knee. That can feel really supportive. Just tuning into the stillness again. Noticing what your body needs, any niggles, things it's trying to communicate to you. Do you need to bring the legs closer? Is your body okay if you go further today? Are you being called to melt down and round into the pose, or maybe upright feels a bit better? All of this is okay. Noticing the breath, elongating its inhales, pauses and exhales. Finding a moment to ground down and feel a sense of release. For a couple more moments just here. And then when you're ready, crawling yourself back up to a seat. And then when you're ready, sitting down onto your shins, so rolling the feet underneath, so you're sitting onto your heels, just like this. If this doesn't feel comfortable, then you can take any other seated position that feels good. You can even do this sat on a chair. Or you can take some blocks and place them in between sort of your ankles, and that's a really, really lovely support. From here, taking the hands up and overhead on a big inhale, And then on an exhale, so you're going to drop your left hand in front of you and your right hand behind and twist open to the right. Lovely. And then on an inhale, back up to center. Exhale, twist open to the left. And we'll just move through this. Inhale, rise. And then exhale, open twist. Inhale, up through center. Exhale, open to the left. Inhale, up through center. Exhale to the right. And just keep moving through this. And as you inhale and the hands are coming up overhead, you're really bringing your breath into the sides of your body. So you're expanding out through the side body like you're sipping in air. So now we're warming up the shoulders, really articulating through each movement through the shoulder blades. Couple more just like this. And then when you feel balanced, drawing the hands up through center, deep inhale. And exhale, cactus, the elbows and the shoulders draw down, open through your heart space, and then draw it back, hands to heart center. Okay, now staying in this seated position if it feels okay. If not, then find any comfortable seat where you can ground down onto the sit bones. Taking the hands back behind you and binding the hands together in a clasp, just like this. Doesn't matter which thumb is on top yet. And then on your next inhale, draw the hands away from the heels. Open up through your heart space. Take a deep breath in. And then on your exhale, keeping the hands in the bind, just taking them over to your right hip. So they're just at the side of you here. Arms back behind you. Draw the right elbow back and away. Dropping the left ear down to the left shoulder. So you're finding this deep stretch along the side of the neck. And just notice if you want to do any movement. That feels good. You can roll the chin up and down on this sort of across the front of the shoulder and the collarbone. Remembering to draw your right shoulder, so the opposite shoulder down. Don't let that sneak up. You might like to open and close the jaw. Or if you've really been enjoying this stillness we've been finding in the yin poses, then just allowing yourself to be still. Last breath here. Lovely. And then drawing it back to center, keeping the bind, and then once again on an inhale, drawing the hands away from the heels, opening up through the front of the body. Lovely. And then swapping the bind over so the opposite thumb will be on top. And then drawing the bind over to your left hip. Shoulders roll down onto your spine, back behind you. But try not to flare too much out of the ribs. So draw and contain those ribs in. And then from here, when you're ready, dropping your right ear to your right shoulder. And again, you might like to roll the head around, shaking it no. You might like to open and close the jaw. Or if you found stillness, maybe you find stillness again. Drawing the left shoulder down. Lovely. And then bringing everything back to center one last time, drawing the hands away from the base of your spine. Deep inhale. And then exhale, let it go. Bring the hands out in front of you. Give them a shake if it feels good. And then you can stay in this position if you are feeling good, if the stretch feels okay. If not, then moving around to whatever feels good. I feel like I've said that so many times. Really trying to offer the seating arrangements. And then we're going to take some neck circles. So dropping the chin down towards the chest and then taking it across to the right shoulder. So it grazes across the right collarbone all the way to the chin to the shoulder, and then drawing it up in this big circle coming all the way around. So the head is to the back, and then drawing it all the way over to the left shoulder, across the front of the left collarbones and back to center. And when you get to center, switching sides, back across the left, all the way around, over to the right, back to center, and then drawing it around in the opposite direction. So really, we're almost warming up the neck here, but we don't need to do anything fast. This is technically our yang movement pose, but we're not aiming to build heat here. We're just leaning in to the movement. So you can let it be quite intuitive now. If these circles don't feel good, or if you want to go more than one way round on one side, let that happen. And let the shoulders get involved, the hips, maybe the spine. Quite like my hips to circle around as I'm doing this. Just being open to any intuitive movements that your body is calling for. You might get some good pops and cracks. I personally love them. Couple more moments, just keep going round here. Lovely. So this next pose, I'm going to invite some pranayama if it feels good. If it doesn't, then just stick to your normal breath or whatever is feeling good in your body right now. So we're going to go for another movement pose. So taking an inhale and hands up and overhead, and then binding the hands over top, but this time placing the bind at the back of the neck. So we're going to be moving in this little open twist. So you're taking the body from left to right, and the gaze sort of goes with the movement side to side. And you can take this slowly. So you're literally moving left, center, right, and trying to ground down into the sit bones or the shins to find some balance, to allow yourself to move. Or you can speed it up a little bit, and you'll find that we haven't got as much movement as that big open twist that we just did, but can you still take that awareness into the expansion of the side body under the armpits? And if you fancy the pranayama, you're taking these fast and short inhales and exhales, so it will be something like this. So one side as you twist is an inhale, and as you twist over to the other side, you exhale. And it's almost like a breath of fire. And this will really build up heat in the body. Lovely. Keep moving through this pose. Pressing the hands into the back of the head and the head back into the hands. Moving through the side body. Staying with the breath if you're doing the pranayama. Couple more moments here. Going for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And then letting it go, bringing the arms down, shaking it out, and just taking a moment to center. You might feel a buzzing sort of sense of awakening and aliveness in your body. Just acknowledging how it's feeling right now. Maybe you can feel this life force, this heat that you're creating, and the power of yourself. Lovely. And then when you're feeling centered, I'm going to invite everyone to come around onto the sit bones. You find a comfortable seat, an easy seat. Taking the arms out to the side, stretching them back behind you, taking a deep, expansive inhale, especially with all this heat we've just built. And on your exhale, you're going to come into this bear hug. So left arm on top of the right, and then just literally bringing your arms around you. So elbows are likely to meet on top of each other. Hands can grab behind you on the back. And you're giving yourself this big hug. You might like to drop the chin down to the chest. And finding a steady gaze. Noticing a shift in energy. Coming into this more introverted pose. Listening to the wisdom of your own body. Noticing and honoring the cycles it can go through. Lovely, and then drawing the arms back out. And we're switching sides. So right arm on top. Left arm underneath. Crossing the arms over the heart center. Again, you might like to bow the chin down. Feeling a nice deep sense of warmth. Maybe the love you can feel for yourself as you give yourself this lovely embrace. Feeling held and supported. Sit bones down into the earth, grounded there. Your upper body held by yourself. One last breath. And then letting it go, drawing the arms out to opposite sides of the room. Really expanding one last time. And drawing everything to center and then coming round into a child's pose. You might like to take this quite wide. We've done some work into the hips and the shoulders today, so this pose is going to bring everything together. We're going to get into both of them. So crawling yourself forward. Maybe the knees go a bit wider today, so you're in more of this like frog or tadpole hybrid of child's pose. Arms stretch out long in front of you. You can let the forehead find the earth, or you can drop an ear to the mat or the floor, wherever you're practicing on. There's that sense again of sending the hips back behind you and the collarbones out in front. Like you're pulling in two different directions. Finding center in the middle, like grounding down and softening into the earth. Lovely, and if this is feeling good to you today, you might like to stay and take your Shavasana in a child's pose. Maybe you add some props for support, like a pillow underneath your stomach and your chest. It can be a really nice way to melt down and in. If you don't fancy staying in child pose, then just finding a way to transition onto your back. Once you've found a comfortable position, start to notice if there's any tension in your feet, and then just letting them go with a deep inhale and a releasing exhale. Feel yourself soften, and then taking your awareness up to your legs and your hips. Taking a deep inhale here and a releasing exhale. Taking your awareness to your chest, your shoulders, your collarbones. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and a releasing exhale out the nose or mouth. Taking your awareness to your arms and your hands. Taking that deep inhale here and releasing any tension throughout the hands on the exhale. Taking your awareness up to your face, unfurling the spot between your eyebrows, unclenching the jaw, taking the tongue away from the roof of your mouth. And then go for that deep inhale and releasing exhale. And then as you feel this relaxation spreading throughout the whole body, taking a moment or two to take another deep inhale and a releasing exhale. Inhaling again, imagining the relaxation spreading from your toes all the way out to the crown of your head, and letting yourself melt down on the exhale. Staying with these slow, long, nourishing breaths. Notice maybe the expansion and the energy you can feel radiating throughout your body, or maybe out of your body after that practice. And drawing awareness to the ground below you and how supported and held your body feels. Noticing any thoughts that are arising, not judging them, just letting them be there. Staying with these long, nourishing breaths, sending relaxation throughout your whole body. And if you can, I invite you to stay for maybe 10 to 15 more breaths, or as long as you can. If you're ready to end the practice here, start to wiggle the fingers and the toes. You can keep the eyes closed as you roll onto one side. And slowly making your way back up to a seat. And we'll close together with some breaths. Taking a deep inhale through the nose and letting go out the mouth. Big sigh. Deep inhale through the nose. Audible exhale out the mouth. One more just like that. Deep inhale. And then let it go on the exhale. Bringing the hands together at the heart center in a prayer position. Balancing the two sides, the stillness and the movement. Feel the palms pressing into each other. And know that just simply by doing this pose here, you are balancing and nourishing your nervous system. I thank you for practicing with me today, and I hope to practice with you again soon. Thank you.